All right, everybody. Another watch review coming at you before I go and ride, because it's going to be sunny and 65 today for December 30th. Not bad. So, let's say you're looking for a watch. Let's say you got up to $300 to spend. And, you like metal because, you like the toughness of a G-Shock. You like the 200-meter water resistance. You like that it's shock resistant. And you can kind of beat it up. But maybe you don't want a $99 plastic watch. Maybe you don't want something so big and chunky, You want something that's more metal, but something that like this is great, but it's not exactly what you might want for going kayaking or, things like that. This has 100-meter water resistance. You want two. If you bang it on a rock or you fall, you're just shock resistant if you're working or doing things. You kind of want the durability and the robustness and the tool watch aspect of something like this, but you want it to look kind of snazzy, that you can wear it around the office and have it look nice and have a watch that does both. And let's say, a watch like this also doesn't have certain things like, while it does have a stopwatch, it doesn't have an alarm at the end of the month. If it's a month with only 30 days or 29 days or something like that, you have to go in and you have to set the date at the end of the month. Maybe you want a backlight, maybe you want a timer. So there's a lot of things you might want about this, but you want the look and feel and the wearing experience of that. What do? What is the solution? Well, might have it right here. So G-Shocks range from $20 plastic watches that you can pick up. Maybe now they're $30 under Bidenomics, but they're $30 or so at Walmart, up to $5,000 in titanium and all kinds of stuff. Where's that middle ground? Well, there's a line called the GM. Let me see. It is the specifically, what is this freaking model called? It is the GM, so like General Motors, 2110D series. And then there's some numbers after that, and that has to do with whatever color range you have, because there's silver, there's green, there's light blue, dark blue, and there's a brilliant orange color. So what are these watches? Well, this is a Casioak. So this is the name it was given when Casio came out a few years ago with the GM2110 series. And they had, they kind of modeled themselves after that octagonal shape, similar to the Patek Philippe Royal Oak. Or not Patek Philippe, sorry, AP, Adamers Piguet. I think I'm pronouncing that right. You know what? These things are always a pain in the dick to get off, and I don't have a Swiss Army knife on me. Anyway. So people are just going to call it AP, so I don't keep butchering the name. Let me get this stupid thing off here. I know some people are like, don't cut the string, that'll hurt the resale value. Don't care. If I'm selling this watch, it's to one of my buddies, and it's going to be heavily discounted, and they're not going to care about the piece of string and the tag. Okay, so the AP Royal Oak, my pardons, they made a watch that looked like that, and originally they were plastic, and you can get different colors and different dials. I think I got a couple different dials. There was a yellow one, there's a red one, there's a black one. And what they are is they're this nice combination of an analog watch, and then you've got a small digital display. Now, in some of the previous models, it was a negative LCD display, which I do not like. I don't like negative displays. They are not easy to read in certain lights. In fact, in most lights, you have to be optimal. It's just, I don't like them. Some people swear by them and they like them. Great, go buy one. I will not be buying one. So they've had a bunch of different models, and actually it's one of their best. The Casioak was a really popular watch, and you can pick those up around $130, $140. Some a little cheaper depending on what colors and things like that. They've had some that were metal here, but then a rubber strap. And there is another series, the GM, was it the GMB or something like that, 2100, was an all-metal version. And it came with Bluetooth, and it actually, I mean, they still have them. And it came with tough solar power and all that stuff. But if you wanted the all-metal with no plastic on it, they were $550. They're as much as a Tissot and, some of the other watches and stuff. Now, they're very good watches. But I never got one because I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend 550 bucks on a freaking, G-Shock. And when I went and picked them up and played with them, they were a little bit thicker than this. They were a little bit bigger. They had the dimples in the metal here. This one doesn't have it, which looks fine on plastic, but on metal, it just made it look cheaper than it was. It felt okay. And I wouldn't mind having the tough solar. Don't care about the Bluetooth. But it's just like, for 550 bucks, I'm like, I just kept passing on it. Well, they came out with its replacement. And you're going to say, well, in some ways it's a downgrade because it doesn't have the Bluetooth connection to be able to set it from your phone and synchronize the time to your phone. And it doesn't have the solar power. But you're saving $250. Going for $550 down. I mean, I could buy this watch and this watch, and I would still have $150 left over. I could go buy something else for the price of that one. So while solar is nice, am I willing to pay $250 extra for it just so I don't have to change the battery every 3 years? Nah, I'll change the battery for every three years for $7. So I went and got one of these. They come in different colors. I wanted to get the green. We'll go through the specs in just a moment, but this is a beautiful watch. And the beauty of this is it's the same 2100 Casioak underneath. All the metal that you see is removable. If I want to take this and put these parts on another Casioak, I could, which is nice because if you were to ding this, let's say you're out kayaking or something and you bash the metal up and gouge up the metal on a rock, you can go to Casio and you can buy just the cover and you take out that screw, that screw, that screw, and that screw, and this cover pops off and you're left with the standard plastic cover, and then you put that on. Or if you wanted to put a red, or you wanted the stainless here, but you wanted this to be red, or whatever, you wanted a different plastic one, you can replace the band. You can replace the cover. So it's modular in that way. Whereas with the 2100 all metal Casioak, it's like a normal watch. I mean, it's like this. So if you bash this thing up, you got to replace the whole case, and I don't know if you can buy just the case, and it's certainly going to cost a lot more than this, probably $20, $25 cover that you can replace. There's aftermarket options for these things as well. So what do you get? You get a nice analog watch. You have the backlight, and it does have lume. That's another thing. So you've got some lume, but on this, it's not on the indices. It's only on the hands. But in the dark, that's all you need to see. But in the dark, you can just hit the button and boop, you got an LED backlight. So, which is really nice. It lights up the whole dial. It's actually got two, and there's one down there that lights up the LCD screen. And the LCD screen, you can cycle through. Like right now, I've got it showing seconds. I've got it showing today's date. But if I want, I can go to world time and set up different time zones. I have a stopwatch feature, so I can start, and I guess it's over here. Reset. You can have a timer, so you can set. Right now it's by default 10 minutes, but I can set it for whatever I want. So hey, I got to cook an egg. Hey, took a COVID test. I need a time for 15 minutes, whatever it might be. You can go in and set alarms. Got a couple alarms, and then you get back to the date. So what's really nice about this is that you get the digital functions. I'm not having to reset the date. You got daylight savings times that you turn on automatically. You've got a backlight. You've got some of the digital things. Now, granted, it is a small display. So if you're in more advanced years and you might be squinting at that, trying to use that small digital display. But assuming that this works for you and your eyes, you get the nice stainless steel bracelet, a little bit more of an upscale. I mean, no one's going to mistake this for a Rolex or a Breitling anytime soon, but it's certainly, even though this is a $100 watch, and even though you can buy plastic G-Shocks that are several $100s, they still look like plastic G-Shocks. So if you want to snazz it up just a little bit, but still have all the benefits and all the good things about having a G-Shock, but have it look like a nicer, more polished watch that you might be more apt to wear around the office or something like that, you can do that. And they've got some really cool dials. I love the fact that they've gotten green and blues and ice blue and things like that. I think these are just absolutely beautiful watches. And for $300, which is not all that much less than I paid for this, I think I paid like $360 or $370 or something like that. And while in some ways, I mean, this is a nicer watch. It's got a nicer bracelet, but it's 100-meter water resistance. It's not a screw-down crown. I'm always having to reset the date, at least on, some of the months that are shorter. And yeah, it's got solar, so that's definitely a plus. And it's a nicer watch to feel and handle. But I think this is a good midway point for someone who needs a watch that's going to hold up to a bit of abuse and punishment, who wants all the benefits of your typical G-Shock, but wants it to look nice. And if you do scratch it up because it's a more hard use, more of a tool watch, you can just pull out a couple screws and just get a new cover. You can change the colors up if you want. You can do things. On these, on this one, on a lot of the G-Shocks, you can get conversion kits to put on bracelets and things like that. But they just came out with one and said, here, we'll sell it, like this. So the list of features, first of all, the case size is about 44.4 millimeters. It's a G-Shock. It is not a small, svelte watch, but it is quite a bit thicker, smaller than some of these big boys. So it's on the larger size, but it's okay. When people see a G-Shock, it's kind of synonymous with chunky, over-engineered, to build in the carbon guard and the shock absorbers and all that stuff. That takes some space. You've also got a mechanical movement as well as an LCD panel and a little microprocessor board to power that thing. And you got batteries in there. So you're only gonna be able to get it so small. But honestly, for what they've packed in here, the thing's about the same size as the Peyton. It might be ever so slightly thicker, but again, when you have it armored in multiple layers of shock absorption and protection, I would expect it to be just a little bit bigger, but it really is barely bigger than that. So, let's see, 44.4 mils. It is 11.8 thick. To me, for a watch that size, that's pretty damn thin. Lug to lug is 49.3. These are, I guess you'd consider them sort of integrated bracelets. Not sure because there aren't any real lugs here. It just kind of screws to the chassis. I guess it uses, what's kind of cool is it uses, so this is an interesting, I don't think this one, this one does it too. So you've got these curved pieces of plastic here that conform to your wrist, so there's no air gap there. It lays really nice on your wrist, and that piece goes, I guess, through these screws and becomes the bridge. That's almost like it takes the place of the lug. And then it looks like you've got two pins, whether you have to push those in or out or whether those are spring bars, not really sure, but you've got two pins per side locking the bracelet to that plastic piece. The plastic piece there is kind of a bridge between the case and the strap, but it gives it this nice seamless integrated bracelet looking. I mean, however they do it on the back end, it looks very nice on the front end. I mean, here you see, there's lugs, and while it looks integrated, it kind of isn't, and there's a gap there, and sometimes it doesn't always line up, and you see the gap. Here you don't. I mean, it's kind of an ingenious, practical way to do it. When you want to adjust these, and I did on mine, and I think these are, it's like some of it feels like they're solid, maybe, but then I think they're all folded. I think they're all pressed. So they're not solid links. It would be nice to see solid links for $300. If I was going to nitpick on this, I think that would be it. And then you've got spring bars. So you'll notice there are no holes down here. So there's no pins to drive through to adjust the bracelet and remove links. There's no screws. It's just spring bars. Use a normal, spring bar tool, and it has an arrow showing you where to go and push that in and pop it out, and you just use the spring bars. It's got little spring bars in there. I had to do 2 and 2, and then you do have a micro adjust. On mine, I put it on the loosest position, and I removed 4 total, 2 from each side. And that for me is fine. It's it's not loose, but if I needed to tighten up, I can go in the other direction and tighten that up. I think it looks nice. It doesn't have an extra safety clasp. It's just a simple 2-button. It is stamped. It's not machined. Is it worth it? For $300, it would be nice to have solid links. It would be nice to have, I could say, yeah, there's areas they could make it better. But G-Shocks are typically function over form. I mean, they look decent, but they're really, these are meant to be used. These are tough use, really good watches for what they are. And they tried to dress it up. And I think they did an admirable job. And honestly, I'm willing to let go of the pressed links and instead of solid links and things at this price point. I'm kind of iffy on that. But you're getting a really good watch, and I'll stop moving it around so you can see. That is a beautiful dial. Absolutely beautiful. Everything they put in there, I like it a lot. Side view. Looks really good. And on the back, it's just your standard screw down, 4 screws. So it comes to time to do the batteries. Very simple to do yourself. Takes 2 batteries, SR726Ws, which I have a bunch of them. 200 meter water resistance, weighs 146 grams with all of the links. So it's not a light watch, but it's not heavy either. I mean, it weighs less than this thing does, for sure. So there you go. World time, 31 time zones, 48 plus cities in coordinated universal time, daylight savings, time and off, savings on and off. You got a 1/100th second stopwatch, 5 daily alarms, hourly time signal. The countdown timer goes in just seconds, not tenths or anything like that. You can get it down to, it goes up to 24 hours. Double LED light, calendar till the year 2099. You can mute the beeps. So when you're changing functions using the stopwatch, if you don't want it to beep, you can turn that off. It's a really cool watch. I'll put the link to it, but it comes in a nice little tin. You get them in cool colors. I would say the best color is this or the orange. A lot of people really go for the orange. I didn't, only because I don't know why. I just wanted green. I don't have any green watches in my collection. So I was like, you know what, let me get something a bit different. So I have nothing with green on it. So I went ahead and grabbed the green watch. But they've got a navy blue, which is nice, and the silver looks good. There's some good stuff in there. So I think I've talked long enough. That's all there really is to say on it. But if you want a G-Shock, if you want something that's a little nicer, a little dressier, but you want all the things people love about G-Shocks, you just don't want it to look like your typical plastic watch, give one of these a try. Now, if you're willing to spend the extra 250 bucks, then get the 2100 version, which is all metal with a screw-in back, and you get Bluetooth and you get the solar ability out of it. To me, that just wasn't worth $250, like doubling the price. I was like, it's nice if it was like another 50, maybe even another 75 bucks. Yeah, I'd go for it. Another $250? Nah, I can go buy another watch for that and have 2 watches for the price of 1. And all I'm giving up is I got to change batteries every 3 years, which is, you know, a 5-minute job. Not a big deal. But if you were just going to have 1 watch and you wanted it to just that little bit nicer with those extra features, then I would say go for the older model, the 2100. But this is the 2110, and I think they're just selling really well. I think it's good that they brought the price back down. They only took out a couple features. Now, I will say this. If I was going to knock it outside of, you know, having the not having solid links, they could have put Bluetooth. I mean, if they're selling the plastic versions of this for $140 and it has Bluetooth and tough solar, then they're adding $160 for this piece of metal and the bracelet. Why take those other features out? You could have offered this. If you wanted the more robust steel and the full steel case, then you could still have the 2100. But to basically, you know, this has metal and it's $300, but the plastic versions of this, the 2100, have the solar. So to me, I don't know, maybe is this the best buy or not? I don't know, I'll have to noodle on that a little bit. I like it just because it looks nicer and I like the colors that it's offered in. I think it's just a really cool watch. But, you know, if you didn't need the metal, then just go for the regular 2100 and you will get Bluetooth and solar. So anyway, that's all I got to say. I gotta go take a shower. And I'm gonna go ride my motorcycle all day up in the mountains and play on a ZX-10R in the twisties and try not to kill myself. So we'll see you folks later.